Good evening, guys, and everybody who's watching us out there. We are students of IIM Kozhikode, batch of 2025, and we are here to share our interview experiences and what we did right, what we did wrong during our interview process, how we prepared for it, and all of that. Until the time we give our introduction and tell you a brief about our interviews, you can pin in your comments and in the chat box so that further during the interview, in the second half of the interview, we can kind of take up the questions. Yes. Vipul, would you like to start with your introduction?
Okay. Hi, guys. Hi from the God's Only campus. I am Kozhikode. My name is Vipul Jain. I am studying the second year of my management program in IIM Kozhikode. I am an engineer. I did my engineering in mechanical department from NIT Surat. Post which I worked in analytics consulting in EXL services. As they say, life is full of experiences. I took a different turn in my life and I resigned and also prepared for public administrative services. Post which I have started my management education from IIM Kozhikode. I like to play cricket and sometimes into public speaking also. So that's me, Vipul Jain.
Okay, so I am Katika Vazdani. I'm from Jaipur. I did my bachelor's in architecture and planning from NIT Jaipur. Then after I worked for a year in an edtech. Then I have a gap year of around 10 months. I like to track, I like to travel, I like to graphic design. Yeah, that's a brief about me.
Hi everyone, my name is Manan Gupta. I belong from Rajasthan. I did my economic honors from Delhi University, Maharaja Hussain College. Post that I cleared CFA L1. I'm a fresher, so I don't have any work ex. And after that, I came here. Like I love to play basketball and handball. That's it about.
So good evening, guys. This is Ayush Singhvi. I am a chartered accountant by profession. I come from a small town called Porbandar in Gujarat, and I passed in 2021. I did my articleship of 3 years from KPMG in the audit domain. Post that, I have joined IMK for my MBA, and just like Manan, I am also a fresher.
Perfect. So now that we all have introduced ourselves, can we go about sharing that how actually we prepared for our interviews and what were our calls and all of that?
Sure. Maybe I can start.
Yeah, sure. Ayush.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Yeah. So for my interview prep, so I got calls from the Blackie, I got calls from A and K. So talking about my interview preparation. So being a chartered accountant, I had to brush up my, basically curriculum on and the concepts related to accounts and what all we were taught in CA, because that is something which is one of the most basic thing which we must know. And in interview, there is a high probability that they are going to ask questions related to accounts and finance. Also, because I was very much inclined to finance, I updated my finance knowledge, and specifically in the finance domain, I was keeping in track with whatever the finance news were there. And also being in Gujarat, so for example, when I was preparing for IIM Ahmedabad and IIMK interview, there is a high probability that if you are, introducing your place from where you come in your introduction, there is a high probability that you must be thorough with whatever are the key things in your about your city or about your state. So I had prepared for that thing as well. And beyond that, because of my love for stock markets and because it was a part of my introduction, I was very much brushed up with my stock market knowledge as well. So basically, for that, I prepared like that. And for HR, I prepared some basic hygiene questions which are asked in any interviews.
Yeah, so like as I am a fresher, so I went through my all undergrad subjects, and I picked two subjects like that I will prepare in such a way that I would be very much thorough with those. So like I have interest in finance, and in my second year I choose elective of finance only. So I took corporate finance and statistics other subjects and like in all my interviews, the interview usually started with the favorite subjects in which for questions would be asked from. And for like Ayush said, you should be very much thorough with the native state which you are belonging to. And like specifically for IIM Kozhikode, you should be very much comfortable with general knowledge regarding Kerala and what is currently happening in Kerala. I had calls from like MDI, XLRI, and IIM Kozhikode from the Blackie. So from a fresher perspective, I would suggest go through the undergraduate curriculum well and pick any 2 to 3 subjects that can be be thorough with those subjects firstly.
Hi guys. So I would divide my interview experience into three parts. One is my academic part, that is my undergraduation from NIT Surat. Second part is my work ex part, and third part is because I have a huge gap year of 3+ years due to UPSC preparation. So I was asked all these three segments of questions in all my interviews. So I appeared for Bangalore's interview, Kozhikode's interview, and then CAP and SPJIMR and other institutes. One thing in common across these institute is about your gap year and how you justify that, apart from the basic academic questions that they ask. And specifically for IIM Kozhikode, it's a stress interview. So, for example, they tried to push me very hard on this thing that why you are coming for an MBA, you already have a lot of years wasted in UPSC and all kind of things. But specifically for those people or those students who are having year gaps, be prepared in K interview that they will grill you on this. On the academic part, basically, since I graduated in 2018, so most of the mechanical engineering stuff they didn't ask, but although they asked about electronic schemes in India regarding e-mobility, FAME 1.0, FAME 2.0, all the business industry knowledge they asked regarding semiconductor and how you integrate, how to develop e-mobility in India, what are the programs and all these things. So they blended my mechanical engineering plus my UPSC experience. Apart from this, I come from a state called Rajasthan and a city of Lake Udaipur. So as Ayush and Manan pointed out, they will ask you these questions. So typically it will go around for 30 minutes. So 5 minutes they'll definitely take for these kind of questions. Okay, where are you from? How many constituencies are there in your state? Who is the chief minister? Who is the governor? Or any specific current affairs regarding to the Rajasthan state or Udaipur or from whichever place you come from. And apart from this, 5-10 minutes they grilled me on my work experience. What kind of leadership opportunities you had in your EXL career time, and what was the projects you handled? Business point of view. For example, I used to do coding also, but they never asked me coding during the interviews. So it's like a standard format that they have. They look into the business perspective only, how you are using machine learning. So I worked in data science. So how you are using data science to drive business value, business growth and revenue increment. So all these kind of questions they asked. Yeah, go on, Kritika.
Okay. So like Vipul, I also had a very organized way of going about my whole interview preparation. So I divided my interview preparation into 6 parts. So first was my tell me about yourself, why MBA and all the HR questions. So I think that tell me about yourself is the first thing that all interviews will ask you. Either tell me about yourself or what is something that is not in your CV and you would like to tell to us. So I think that's the first question for every interview and should be prepared very nicely. The second thing that I prepared was my academics. So I have a 5 years long undergraduation in architecture. So I prepared that what are my favorite subjects. And then I went about going through ChatGPT, what are the subjects. Then I studied about either civil engineering subjects like structures and beams, columns, all of that, or either sustainability. So in my interview also, I was asked around either sustainability questions and then it moved to sustainability in business, all of that, or I was asked about core civil engineering questions. So that was about my academics. The third thing that I went about is GK. Further in GK, I divided my preparation into 3 parts. One is current affairs. So for current affairs, I watched Study IQ's monthly video. Which consisted of all the current affairs that had happened in the month. So I went through 3 to 4 months videos. And when I got the gist of what are the current news that is happening around, I would brush up through them to other YouTube channels and other videos. So that was the current affairs part. Also in the current affairs part, remember that what is your background and prepare according to that. For example, during our interviews, budget had arrived. So I prepared around things that were related to infrastructure, women, all of that, which were related to me and my background and my work experience. So I prepared current affairs around that a lot. Second was the geography part, which as Vipul and Ayush and Manan, all the three mentioned about, as I hail from Jaipur. So architecture of Jaipur, history of Jaipur, Rajasthan, and also of the institute you're appearing for interview in. So for Kerala, Kozhikode, all of that. So that comprised of my whole GK part. Then the fourth part I prepared for was my CV related questions, which consisted of work experience, my hobbies, all of those questions. So I structured my work experience question around what are the business aspects of my work experience, how I brought about a change in the team, as well as what our team brought about change on a larger scale. So I prepared my CV well. And then the fifth type of questions that I prepared around were domain questions. So while some of you might choose to say that when you enter an MBA, you want to experiment with what domain you want to enter in. But in my interviews, I said that I was interested in marketing. So I took compendiums of various B schools and I prepared my marketing knowledge around that and prepared some basic questions like what are the P's of marketing and what is marketing, how it is different from sales, all of that basic questions. And the sixth thing that I used to do 2 to 3 days before my interview is that I had joined various groups, Telegram groups and WhatsApp groups, which had all the transcripts of all the interviews that had taken place in the past 2 to 3 years. So from my tell me about yourself, I picked out 15 to 20 keywords which are related to me. For example, I'm an architect. So architect is the first keyword. I hail from Jaipur. So it's the second keyword. NIT is the third keyword. So I wrote all the keywords. Women is the fourth keyword. So I wrote all the keywords, and in all the WhatsApp groups and Telegram groups containing transcripts, I used to search those keywords, and whatever questions used to come of those keywords, I used to prepare them. So that gave me a upper hand on the recent questions which have been asked, and I prepared around those. So yeah, that's a brief about how I prepared for the interviews. Yeah. So coming next, I think we all can tell about our IIM Kozhikode interview experience.
Sure. So maybe I'll start.
Yeah, sure. Ayush.
So my IMK interview revolved mostly around my technical know-how and how strong my curriculum, the CA curriculum I was aware of. So basically, when I entered into the room, the interview room, one of the panelists didn't even greet me, and he just asked me. There was a pen and a paper kept on the table. So he just asked me to draw a efficient frontier, which is a part of a portfolio management subject. So I was taken aback by that particular question, but then I tried to calm myself for 10-15 seconds, and then I drew that particular graph. And then my interview for next 10 minutes was based on that particular topic and that particular subject. So I was made to solve some numericals. I was asked some short case-based problem based on portfolio, and I was asked to crack them. Once they knew that I'm strong with my curriculum and my guides, then they shifted it to some current affairs. So at that point, Adani Hindenburg case was the most hot topic at that particular time. So I was very much sure that this topic is going to come in my interview, and I was expecting that. So I had prepared for that. But during that time, the story was still building, and there was not a proper conclusion as to whose side you must choose. So there was a very diplomatic answer which I had prepared for the same. But the interviews tried to grill me on taking a stand as to whether the Adani is right or Hindenburg is right. So they wanted to know that how strong you are in how what is your opinion basically, and how can you basically back up your opinion based on what reasonings you give. So you must be very much aware about the current affairs which is going on. And post that, a very generic segment happened wherein one of the other panelists, he asked me some questions based on Tata Group. So like, who is the chairman of Tata Group? How many companies are there in the Tata Group? How many employees work in Tata Group? And then he asked me about Fortune 500 companies. What is the Fortune 500 company based on? Is it based on total turnover, or it is based on market share? And I also had a great big gap year like Vipul. So I did my CA, and then I took a year gap for my preparation of MBA. So I was very much expecting my gap year question. And the other panelist was like, you must, I mean, why didn't you do a job? And you must have earned a healthy amount of money by a post CA. Why do you want to do an MBA? And he was not convinced as such. But one thing was that you should be true to whatever you say in your interview. It's like having a gap year is not a disadvantage if you can explain and justify it properly as to why you took a gap year and what all activities you did in your gap year. Because in India specifically, it is seen as if you have done some scene by taking a gap year. But out of the India, you will see in many colleges people do take gap year to just introspect and try to find out what they want to do with their career. So it's very much fine, but you must be must have a very strong answer as to why you did a gap year, and you yourself must be convinced that whatever decision I made, that is right, and you should stand by your decision. They will try to push you at the, like, you did this wrong. I mean, you should not have taken a gap year and all that shit. But you should be very much be strong as to why you took a gap year, and you must properly justify. So I had that justification ready, and I basically improved my skills. I got into some other activities. I started learning playing guitar instrument. I was into music. I was into games. I was into sports and all this stuff. So my interview experience was more or less same. And also because I had mentioned about derivatives in my introduction, so I was asked some questions on derivatives also. Apart from that, it was a very chill interview. One of the panel was very chill. The other was, trying to take a stress interview. So it was kind of a balance thing for me. But overall, it went well. And this was my interview experience for K. Over to you, Manan.
So, like, my interview was started like just like Ayush. It was much more very technical interview. So they initially started with asking me favorite subjects. So I mentioned corporate finance and statistics. So initially they started with very basic and easy questions regarding IRR, NPV, and WACC and all. And after that, when they switched to statistics, they asked very like tough numericals related to regression modeling and all, and I was very sure that a normal candidate wouldn't be able to answer those questions. So they were just checking that whether I would be able to stay calm or not if I'm not able to answer the question. So like I humbly said that I didn't able to answer this question. Then they asked me some various capital structure theories, made me graph of various capital structure, how transitioning from like the initial capital structure to the optimum capital structure. So like I was able to answer those questions, but was not able to make the diagram. I actually made the diagram wrong. And afterwards, since like Ayush, I was also a 2022 graduate, and I was having a gap year. So like I did my CFA L1 in that gap year. So like I explained to them, like, since I have an interest in finance, that's why I transitioned to that, and they were very much convinced with that. And for other things, I would say like be thorough with the Kerala state, because they asked me the governor, chief minister, how many districts are there in Kerala and all. And they asked me some subjective questions also, like why the women's why we were promoting diversity by having lower marks for women. So you should having a straight opinion towards it, not trying to be diplomatic, because they will catch you in that aspect. And there were basic GK questions, and the interview was much more technical. And after that, it gets over. In my interview was very much short. It was around 12 to 15 minutes only. So this was my interview experience.
Yeah. So contrary to what Ayush and Manan said regarding the short interview and stress-free interview, mine was a little bit stressful. I don't know, because of my profile, or I have done more sins in my life than probably Ayush and Manan has done. So yeah, again dividing it. One was the HR and HR part, the behavioral questions. Other one was the technical part. My technical part was more inclined towards my work experience because I have left my mechanical engineering 5 years ago. And the third part was regarding my UPSC and current affairs. So let's start from the last part. And I'll give you an example. There was a war going on between Russia and Ukraine since last 1 year. And due to that, there were ramifications in international politics and everything. And plus, India was also conducting G20 during that year. So they started with this thing that you are an advisor to the Ministry of External Affairs. You want to you want to prevent war or you want to reduce the effects of war, what would you do? How would you advise? So whole 5 to 10 minutes of discussion went around that you support Putin or you don't support Putin, you support Ukraine, or you don't have humanity, you don't have all these kind of things. So the my suggestion is for every individual who is related to current affairs, they will ask you these diplomatic questions. As Manan said, you have to be very precise in these answers, and you have to tell them that war is justified. Even how I answered it, I told them that Mahabharata says if something is wrong, war is justified. For example, let me give you the recent example that Israel and Hamas thing. So to prevent adharm to fall out in the world, the Israel is going for a war. So that kind of questions they threw at me, a lot of these questions. Israel Hamas was not the question, but yeah, the Ukraine and Russia question was there. Then supply chain crisis, as I told earlier, also semiconductor supply chain crisis. They told me, then they asked me some kind of 377 article and other kind of constitution articles also, because now every now and then they read newspapers. Professors is very smart. All day they read newspapers, and finally they have found people like us who have gap years also in this kind of profile. So they literally they try to have 50 to 20 minutes of discussion regarding these points: international relations, geopolitics, constitutional law, and every these kind of things. Then the technical part, since they knew I was not in working space for last 3 years, they touch it from like an overview part of thing, the bird's eye view. What kind of models do you build? So logistic regression was the model that we were building for our client. Who was your client? What was the revenue increment? What business value? As I discussed, it revolved around these things, and one or two mechanical engineering questions just to tease me, or since it was a stress interview for me. For example, pressure temperature equation, and how you are going on a mountain, how pressure will change, how temperature will change, all these kind of things. IC engine, very basic mechanical questions that you must prepare if you are from mechanical engineering department. Although it was a long time back, but yeah, they asked me these questions. And one is HR questions. So one of the HR questions that they asked me, okay, Vipul, how do you see failures? Do you see yourself as a failure? And you should go back to the working space. Why are you wasting your 2 years time? Your return on investment is not that good. You're wasting 2 years also. And you belong from a very middle class family. You will take a loan. All these kind of testing behavioral HR questions that they'll like to see in you. How do you react to it? So apart from that, tell me about yourself. What a basic thing. I am Kozhikode. They asked about Kozhikode. There was a movie also during that time. I guess regarding the ISIS link with the state of Kerala and all these kind of questions. These are very controversial questions. And since I was from a UPSC background, they definitely asked me these questions. So yes, these are the questions that they basically threw at me. What about you, Pratika?
So I had a very mix of initially a stress interview and then turning to a very fun interview. So I was asked about myself, then what is something that is not in my CV, all of those questions. Then they switched to a very random question that what is the difference between discovery, invention, and innovation? I answered the question, but they weren't very happy with the answer. So then they started asking me questions around my hobbies, my work experience, all of that. So in between, it turned to a very stress interview where they were asking me questions and weren't listening to my answers. But then after a point, because I was just I was keeping a very calm attitude and was smiling throughout the interview. So they also became very chill during the half of the interview. So then they asked about my NGO experience and work experience related questions, more of them. And what did I learn during COVID? Some HR questions like that. And what I also have a gap of around 10 months. So what did I do during those 10 months? I was able to justify why I took the gap. Then they further asked me about why do I want to switch to MBA. After 5 minutes of cross questioning, they were kind of convinced by my answer. I would say, as Ayush also mentioned, that don't like to gas around or be very sure of what you are saying or what you are doing. And if you don't know about anything, just say that I would please like to I don't know fully about this, but I would like to attempt this question, and then attempt the question if you're not fully aware of what they are asking to you. And one more advice that I would like to give is that if you want to reframe your question in a certain way, answer in a certain way, just say that, can I take a minute and then give the answer? And structure your thoughts and then give the answers. This is especially for the HR questions that come around. So I think these are my two pieces of advices. And just maintain a calm composure, have a smile on your face during your interview. And I think, yeah, that's it. So, yeah. So now can we take up the questions that are in the chat?
Yep, Kritika, yeah, please take them.
Guys, if you have any questions, please send them in the chat and we'll try to answer as many questions as we can. One question is by Shivani. Can you guys say if we answered all questions but could not answer grad question? How will marks affect considering I have 18 months of work experience? So Shivani, they do understand that as you have been away from your graduations for 1.5 years now, there would be some subjects that you might not have fully idea of or aren't able to recall. So I would say that there isn't any specific measure to how much marks will be affected, but just keep your composure. Try to attempt that question and clearly mention that it has been long time since you have graduated and you are not able to recall fully of those aspects or of those questions that you're being asked. I think that will help you ease through.
Yeah, just to add on Kratika's point, Shivani, one sigh of relief for you is if you have 18 or more years of, 18 or more months of work experience, traditionally or most of the time they won't go into your graduation and they'll just, for example, what I said, only IC engines, difference between four-stroke and two-stroke, that kind of very basic. So no need to stress on academic. If you have good work ex, other extracurricular activities, they will mostly revolve around these things apart from the SOP that they'll let you fill. So yeah, don't stress on this.
Okay. Uh, Ishita has a question that what if you have 3+ years of experience? How to justify why to join the PGP rather than wait for a year and join EPGP? Anybody wants to take up this question? Uh, okay, so I will take this up. I would say that Ishita, in this case, you can revolve around what is the course of PGP, how it is different from EPGP, and since you will be experiencing the whole campus life for 2 years, how that will add on to you, how the peer experience and the faculty experience that you will have through these 2 years will help you. And I think that will help you kind of justify this, that why do you want to join PGP rather than EPGP?
Yeah, just to add on to this point, generally it's a notion that if more workex is there, people go for EPGP, and this is a very natural question that any institute will ask you. See, the thing is that you should project PGP as your go-to experience. For example, you can have peer group learning more in PGP. You are simulating with these people, various case competitions in classroom learning. For example, Ayush is a CA, Manan is economics honors graduate, Kratika is architect, I am an engineer. So that kind of a living space and that kind of experience is only in PGP. So yes, this question is very relevant for you. But to justify, you should more project about PGP, its value addition to your profile rather than about EPGP, such as peer learning, such as experiences, such as case competition, such as diversity that I can encounter in these 2 years, development, extracurricular development, all these kind of things.
Also, you can
Anything else?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think also you can highlight upon why the 3 years you have already worked experience has you have covered all the things that you can possibly in these 3 years, and why adding one more year of work experience won't add much to you. Rather, a PGP course will add much more. So you can highlight upon that aspect as well. I think Manvendra has a question for Ayush. Yeah.
Yeah, so Manvendra is asking that since I was into sports, music, and doing an MBA, so do they stress you on why multi-talent work and does it help? So Manvendra, it is not about what you do in your gap year, but it is more about the intent as to what you have been up to during your gap year. So they want to know basically that are you a motivated person or are you a lazy person who who just don't want to study or just want to pass his time. So if you can showcase that during your gap year you were, for example, I was preparing for my CAT, but side by side I was doing certain amount of things, so that shows that I am someone who is a motivated individual who wants to try different things. And he's not a lazy person who is just sitting in idle and sitting in home and just preparing for CAT, because preparing for CAT is not a big thing that 1 year you are just preparing for CAT and doing nothing apart from that. So you need to showcase that what is your intent during that particular time and how motivated you are. So if you are into multi space, for example, sports or music, that that is a good thing. That shows that you are ready to try out new things and you are searching uh, your passion or hobbies in different field. So that really helps. They will stress you, but if you can showcase your intent rather than just telling us to, because I was not aware of what I was doing, so I was trying my hands on everything. It is about your intent basically. So if you can showcase that, I think that's a very good answer to justify your gap year.
Yeah, Ayush, I would like to add on. So the crux of management is about multitasking and multiple things management at the same time. So here also, if you go into any BBA school, you will have various committees, various events, all these kinds of things will be there. It is just to develop that multitasking ability of yours. So if you have a proven track record of doing all these things, it adds to your overall personality. So it is a good thing, I guess, to have in your profile the multi-dimensional aspect of one's existence. So that's what I think Ayush was also saying.
Okay, so there are various questions regarding calls. That can I expect a call from PGP LSM and 91 percentile and profile 997? First of all, Nandini, I would like to say that this year the number of students who appeared for CAT have increased, and we don't know about how many seats will increase or decrease of PGP LSM program. So this question is very subjective. I would say just wait for 20 more days. You would get a second shortlist for LSM program, and you can prepare for interviews from now on because you might have other PGP calls as well. Also, the CA intermediate experience might help you for the PGP finance call because there is a finance suitability component in that PGP finance program. But for PGP LSM, it might help you during interviews, but not for the cumulative score calculation.
It will help also in PGP call also, because in PGP call there is suitability score for CA.
There is one question from Akshat. Were the panels profile specific? And for example, like a different panel for engineer and so on. So as per my understanding, Akshat, no. The panels are very random. There is no specific panel as to all the CAs will be interviewed by this panel, all the engineers will be interviewed by this panel. It is quite random and it is a mix of all the different or diverse backgrounds of students.
Yeah,
Adding on
exactly.
to, yeah, we could
Yeah,
move
yeah. Manan, go on.
Yeah. So adding on to that, like my after my interview, I checked the profile of the professor. So for my professor belong from an operations background, and still he was asking me core finance questions. So like professors usually have basic knowledge of all the subjects. So it doesn't matter like what is the profile and all. So you should focus and try to maximize your chances. People, now you can say.
Yeah, exactly this point I was also mentioning. Thank you, Manan, for bringing it up. For example, my profile, the professor who took my interview, I checked his background. He he was an engineer basically, and after that he did all the operations and all these things, and then he learned finance. So he was asking me questions based on my mechanical engineering. Also, he was asking me current affairs also. So it's basically area specific panels. So one panel will be from area economics, one panel will be from finance, one panel will be from quantitative and control. So these kind of panels will be area specific, not your profile specific.
I think Samriddhi has a question for Ayush. Which IMK committees do CAs usually join?
So Samriddhi, I'm sure you must be thinking that CAs must usually be joining the finance committees. but that's not the case. So I'm into a committee which is known as Conquest Committee, which works and in preparation and aids students in helping their placements and other stuff. And just like me, there are multiple CAs who are into various committees. So there is no as such, particular committee which is uh, specific for a CA. CAs are because we are here to explore because we never had a college experience or we never enjoyed the college life. So all the CAs have been are there I guess in almost every committee has CAs. So it's not like specific to finance or accounting as such.
Think the interviews for committee are same as interviews for MBA. If you are able to justify your interest in that committee, you are good to go. Guys, do you have any more questions? Or else we can wind up in 1 to 2 minutes.
I guess Sufi has a question.
Yeah, Sufi, I guess. So you have a questions regarding someone who is from arts gets some extra points. Do you know someone? What type of questions do they get in the interview? And it is easy for them. Okay. Okay. So I know I am not from arts, but I know someone from arts and I can answer this question. I don't know how much satisfactory that would be. So one individual that I know, he is BA political science, BA in political science. So he got questions regarding waves of feminism, regarding Plato, Socrates, all these kind of scholars. He was asked in the interview, and why the government is important, who controls people. There are various theories of power by Foucault. So these kinds of questions. And see, if you are from arts, there is more chances of you getting behavioral questions rather than technical questions. So that's what me and my friend were discussing. So these scholars and what they tell you and how to its implication in management, because nowadays management is also learning the arts part of things. Apart from all the quantitative and empirical evidence data, the art part of a management education is also very important. So for example, behavioral science, all these kind of things. So political science is also moving towards these kind of things. So yeah, these questions you may be asked if you are from political science background. If you are from history, it is anyone's guess. They'll probably ask you regarding some current affairs or something, or some technical history questions also. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah,
Yeah, Kritik.
I think talking about extra points, we have a very balanced cohort of around 20 to 30% of humanities students, then 20 to 30% engineers, and then BCom students as well. So I don't think there's some extra points as such. It's a very diverse cohort of students. Yeah.
Okay. Guys, any more questions if you have, you can post it here. Any questions regarding institute, its vibe, and anything you can ask, like how do we, what is our daily schedule look like? Is it really that hectic that B schools are very hectic? Is it really that hectic? Any questions you can ask apart from the interview preparation or apart from the GDPI guidance? Uh, Anything, guys, you want to add regarding the process in general? For example, let's say about the VAT part. Anything you want to add? Okay, Akshat Kumar, can you tell us about the internship and placement season this year? Akshat, IIM Kozhikode will release its official report. Only then you will be able to know what are the internship and placement seasons. We are privy to the institute rules, and hence officially only through our website, various committees and institute will declare that. So I cannot answer that question actually. But rest assured, it is a Blackie Institute. So I don't know, whatever doubts you have in your mind, it will get cleared by the official release only.
Also, if you are concerned about internship and placements, I think one is the profile that you have till now. So after your interviews get over, maybe you can work around how to reframe or restructure your CV of what you have done till now. And also you can work around what additions you can have give to your CV. For example, you can do a CFA, or you can try on giving some case competitions and trying your hand in that. So I think instead of internship and placements, you can focus on how to build your CV and refine it even better.
Yeah. You worry more about internship and placement once you clear all the stages of your interview days. Right, Akshat? Thank you. Any more questions, guys? Then we'll wrap up in, I guess, Katika, 5 minutes mostly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was asking any inputs regarding the VAT process also. Any input, Manan, Ayush, regarding what technical VAT or like business VAT, what kind of VAT? Is it open-ended VAT? Because this is a general question I should have if I was preparing for MBA.
So, for specifically my VAT, I was given a very generic topic: is climate change a myth? So, I would say they usually give a very open-ended question, or not a very specific question, because everybody should know about that first of all. So, I usually prepared for VAT and gave my answer in a very structured way. So, my approach was to go for a pestle approach. So, when you will come to MBA and you will learn this approach. So PESTEL means political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal aspects. So that I don't miss any points, I would break down my whole essay into this PESTEL approach, and I would think of all the two to 3 points regarding all these 6 heads, and then I would answer my essay or that to give it a more holistic touch. Yeah.
For me, the what was very open-ended. So for me, the P stands for psychology. So I was given in IIMA and IIMK both. I had some psychological based topic. I don't remember the exact topic, but it was something around joy and euphoria. So I think there is nothing as such you can prepare for what. Maybe, I mean, when you'll be preparing for your interviews, any which ways you'll be very much aware about the current affairs. So in case there is a topic on current affairs, then you are very much good to go. But apart from that, I think there is no need to worry as such about that. I mean, you will be given 20 minutes, so you can, I'm sure you can at least write one page on any given topic which is there. But it is an open-ended in my suggestion.
Yeah, like
Also, as Ayush mentioned, even if it is an open-ended topic, you can try to add 1 or 2 points related to current affairs. For example, my topic was this climate change a myth. So during that time, G20 summit was going on, and there were major discussions on climate change and sustainability. Also, budget had just arrived, so biohydrogen and all those were very much in trend during that time. So I tried to cover those aspects. So it just shows that you are more aware about what's happening around you. So even if there is an open-ended topic, you can try to add some current affair knowledge you have around it. Yeah, that's it.
for me, that topic was very abstract. Like it was like manager is the profession everyone wants to pursue, but still everyone dislikes manager. So like it's very abstract topic and you can't like what points to frame and all. So at least my approach is to structure my points, and like usually what people do, just get the topic and they just start writing. So for like they get like usually you will get enough time to write the back. So in my opinion, initially 5 to 7 minutes you should take to structure the points, like what you are planning to write. And like as Kratika said, like having a pestle approach or any approach you can apply, but make sure that you have enough time to write, like you have enough thoughts and enough points to write before just actually writing bad. Because what usually happens if you just starting writing bad, you will face problems, because you will get random points and you can't just put those points in that sentence. So according to me, take 5 to 7 minutes before writing the VAT, it will help.
Yeah, one last closing comment from my side. VAT is more about structure. So if you hear something, let's say what Manan asked, if you hear this topic, what is your structure? Are you planning to have some kind of opening sentence or opening para, then body, then conclusion? So structure should be there, and you should think it in 2-3 minutes before writing. To jump directly to write, like you've heard something and you just start writing it, you will write 2-3 lines, then you will get lost. So structure is one of the part that you should practice while giving your VAT in this preparatory season also. So apart from that, whatever Kratika, Ayush, and Manan said are perfectly fine. Okay, Shivani is asking, I heard 150 people are yet to get summer placements. Shivani, I have not heard that. For internship, for example, will tell us where we got placed, and I don't know from where you are hearing this. You are listening to these things. So I got an internship. Manan also got an internship. Kratika also got an internship. Ayush also got an internship. So it's I don't know where you are hearing. Again, regarding placements and everything, official channels will disclose that. We are not suitable authority to say so. Any other questions, please? Okay, Kratika, last 2 minutes, then we'll wrap up.
Yeah. Also, like, what are the closing statements or last piece of advice that maybe any of you want to give to the audience out there?
Okay, yeah, this is good part. Manan, you would like to start? I am the oldest one. I'll start later. I'll be the last one. You'll start.
Okay. So interview, I like the first interview I faced was during my like MBA only. I haven't applied for any job, so I haven't any prior experience for any interview. So I guess my first interview was a CAP interview. So like interviews are a testing like whether you panic or not. And fortunately, IMK interview was one of my last interviews. So in my opinion, you shouldn't like panic even if you don't know the answer. You should take time to structure your thought because I remember like due to like in my CAP interview they asked about the p value, but I was able I know the answer. I was able to answer, but I answered in a very unstructured manner. So my belief is to take time and then answer the questions and be thorough with your academics, be thorough with your GK, and be thorough with your HR questions. And why MBA is the most crucial question according to me. So connect your past story and the future aspirations where you want to be and where are you currently. So this will help you to make a very structured answer for an why MBA. So this is my last piece of advice.
Ayush, would you like to go?
So just to add on to Manan's advice, I would say that interview is 60 to 70% about your body language and how you articulate whatever you are saying and whatever it is in your mind. So it is about basically putting it out in front of the panel. So be confident in whatever you say. Be confident in whatever you have done till now in your life and whatever are your aspirations. They will try to dig you. They will try to contradict you, but you need to stay firm to whatever you have done, whatever you achieved, whatever are your failures, and whatever you aspire to be. And these are some of the basic things what Manan said that ACADS, current affairs, this is something which you must at least know. I mean, this is the basic hygiene check you must know. But apart from that, just be confident and bold enough. And there is a very thin line between being confident and being arrogant. So make sure that you don't cross that line during your interviews, because the biggest an interview can go from a very good note to a very bad state if you show a little arrogance to the professors, because they are someone who have seen you know who have much experience than what you currently have. So I think you need to be confident, and you need to also be aware of the fact that there will be some questions which you will not have answer to. It's not like you will have answer to all the 20 questions which is put up to you, but it is about how you try to, basically uh, try to defend that thing and be polite and be, it's okay if you don't know a couple of questions, answers. So rather than that, just be confident. That's the only difference. Over to you, Ravi.
Yeah. So I have two pieces of advices. Since most of the interview preparation is through devices, through our phone or laptop, we use that for our interview preparation. So I would say that it is very easy to get lost during the whole interview preparation process. So I would say that keep a very organized approach of how to go about it. As Vipul mentioned, and I also mentioned that we divided our whole interview preparation into some parts. You also do it, and that will better equip you to kind of see and assess yourself that how much you have prepared till now. So one thing is that, and second thing is that during the whole interview process, I have seen my colleagues and people who are preparing right now that they get very much disturbed by what is the cumulative score and how much they should score in the interview to kind of excel it. Do they require less marks or do they require more marks? So I would, or which course should they opt for? Should they opt for LSM, Fin, or what college should they opt for? So I think instead of focusing on all these things, you have given CAT, you have come a long way. There will be various hits and misses that you might have that might have occurred throughout the way. So just focus on interviews and excel all the interviews that you can. Give the best in all the opportunities that you have. And then when you get the final converts, then decide that what college that you want to take up, what course you want to take up. So I think that's the only piece of advice that I would want to give.
Okay, so I would like to say just to be honest in the interview room, because if you lie, they'll catch you. If you be on less confidence, they'll catch you. Just be honest. If you don't know something, just say, sorry, sir, I'm not aware of this. I have to read about this. No beating around the bush, nothing. Just be honest and enjoy the process. Trust your abilities. You have come this far with all the percentiles. You have great calls. I assume that everyone have calls. So just trust the process that you have done your hard work. Be honest in the interview room. There are very smart people out there. They will catch you. So even if we go to classes also, we find out that there are very, very smart people out there who are taking our interviews. So be honest with them and be humble. That's the two things that I want to say. Yeah, one last question by Isha, I guess. Manan and Ayush. Any one of you want to take that question?
Isha is asking, hi, how do we tackle questions being a fresher? How do we drive the interview? So Isha, this is the question I was asked in my XLRI interview, I guess. So you should be like honest. Like I answered this. Like if I'm getting an opportunity to pursue a MBA from such a prestigious college, so why not take that opportunity at an early age only? And also like since it was my business management interview, I told them that I want to explore all the domains like marketing, HR, and finance, consulting. So after being in MBA, I would be able to learn all the subjects and then decide in which sector I want to do my job and pursue my further career. And they also asked, like, as a fresher, what would you new bring to the class and all. So the answer I did give is that usually for freshers bring a diverse and a new perspective to the class. And also, like, I have prior experience in event management during my undergrad, and also I would if being a if bring an opportunity, if I get a chance to be in a part of any committee, I'll help in that also. Maybe Ayush can add.
Yeah, so for me, it was a bit different because so I had done my articleship for 3 years from KPMG, which was like equivalent to doing a job because we worked thoroughly for that. So I had that particular experience in my profile, based on which my interview could be, taken to that particular site. So my interview was typically revolving around what all work I did during my KPMG thing. So it was not purely for me directed towards the questions were not purely directed towards me as a fresher. And I also explained them that I already worked for 3 years in corporate world as a articleship, which was equivalent to job. And then I found my kick in doing an MBA. So there was no harm in, pursuing and doing a job for 2 years and then doing an MBA. So that way I explained it. So yeah, for me it was I had the KPMG experience to say that.
So I would like to add on to this. First of all, you can say that because you are a fresher and you don't have prior experience in any particular domain, so you are a whiteboard and you're open to learning all the domains. So that would really help you. The kind of frame your answer around that you are open to ideas, open to learnings that you have in class, and you're a whiteboard and you can learn anything very quickly because you don't have a set kind of ideology or experience around a certain domain. So one thing is that, and how to drive your interview. I think tell me about yourself is the first step to drive your interview. Prepare or tell me about yourself and don't prepare it in your mind. Write it, write all the keywords that are in your tell me about yourself and prepare all the keywords around that. That will help you drive your interview mostly.
Pratika, let's wrap it up.
Yeah. So it was a fun interview and we really enjoyed discussing and sharing our ideas. And this kind of happened to us 1 year back. So I think we all are very nostalgic about it and we kind of revived our own interview days through this interview. And yeah, thank you everyone.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for asking questions. And if you have any more questions, connect with us on LinkedIn and we can answer them. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
And all the best.
All
you,
the
guys.
best, guys. I hope each one of you makes to your dream B school. Everybody who's watching this live, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Good luck, guys. All the best.